Please welcome Erin Montagu. She is the Digital Experience Coordinator at Murdoch University Library, where she leads a team focused on the management and configuration of key library systems, including Alma and Primo VE. Her team also oversees the library's communications, spanning the website, social media, signage, and digital literacy assets. With a diverse background in graphic design, digital technologies, subscriptions, and project management, Erin brings a multidisciplinary approach to her work. She has a strong interest in evidence-based decision-making and is passionate about enhancing accessibility and inclusion in the digital library environment. Thank you, Erin. Go ahead.
Thanks for the intro, Patricia. I'll just jump straight into sharing my screen. Okay, so, hang on, I haven't pressed yet. There we go. Okay, so as you mentioned, Patricia, today I'm going to be discussing making sense of AI search tools and a consistent way to measure performance. So firstly, I'll just run through our acknowledgement of country. So Murdoch University is situated on the lands of the Whadjuk and Binjara Noongar people. We pay our respect to their enduring and dynamic culture and the leadership of Noongar elders past and present. Okay, so given the constant addition of new AI functionality and tools to databases and library systems, Murdoch Library needed a consistent, simple method for library staff to assess these tools and make evidence-based decisions on whether to subscribe, opt in, or simply provide support for the functionality. This task fell to our generative AI working group, whose primary purpose is to review and make recommendations on generative AI, where it aligns with the library's information literacy framework. The working group includes representatives from all teams across the library. At Murdoch, the library are not the sole providers of AI support to students and staff. So there's other sections of the university already providing support materials and guidance for general AI tools and skills, which means that we can just focus on the publisher and system search tools such as Primo Research Assistant and supporting AI literacy where it coincides with the library-specific skills such as referencing, critical assessment of AI outputs and copyright requirements. Reviewing these tools, though, and providing evidence-based recommendations is still a significant task, as I'm sure many of you are also experiencing. New tools and AI functionality in existing databases and systems seems to be announced constantly. So to be able to adequately assess the variety of AI search tools on offer, we needed to be able to identify the key criteria. But why reinvent the wheel? So some of the hard work had already been done for us in the form of an OER, the Curious Educator's Guide to AI by Kyle Mackey and Erin Montagu, which provides a rubric for AI tool evaluation and available under Creative Commons license. So I'm just going to jump out of my presentation. So hopefully you can now see the rubric. So yes, this is the rubric from the OER. This evaluation tool was intended for educational use. So it already includes a lot of relevant criteria for what we're aiming to achieve. Whilst their rubric is a great starting point, though, it does include some great sections such as functionality, accessibility. It's got technical kind of requirements, privacy, and some stuff around like the teaching requirements. But whilst this was a great starting point, it isn't really comprehensive enough for academic library use. It lacks enough detail in the functionality and accuracy of the AI outputs. It doesn't have anything about vendor-specific information or ethical requirements in terms of copyright requirements, and it doesn't include administrative workload and things like that. So as it was available under a Creative Commons license, we then took this rubric, downloaded the rubric, and kind of made it our own. So we kind of identified where it lacked the key criteria that was necessary for our own evaluation in an academic library setting. And by adding some criterion and removing others, we feel that our tool now offers us a comprehensive analysis that can be applied to a variety of AI search tools. So we've kind of added sections, a lot of sections to the functionality part at the top here. So we've added a lot of information around accuracy, transparency, reliability, and relevancy. We've added some sections on administrative workload. So there's a perceived amount of funding, implementation, resourcing, and maintenance that would be required in the maintenance of a tool. And under the ethics kind of section, we also added copyright considerations and also some considerations around the ethics of the parent company. We've also kind of further down adapted the same rubric where we've pretty much just stuck to the functionality section, but this specific section is where we would use it, where we would actually get academics and researchers to review any of our AI search tools. So this is kind of for them to then kind of look at the purpose of the AI search tools. So it has similar kind of criteria, but slightly different. They've also got a section on completeness and reproducibility, and then usefulness for teaching. But whilst this rubric can be very useful, as you can see, it kind of divides the options up by works well, minor concerns, and serious concerns when reviewing the tool. We now have quite a large Word document, which is generally going to be off-putting to staff when we have multiple AI tools that we intend to evaluate and require a lot of manual analysis of the results. It also doesn't allow to add further information about why we selected a certain response. So our solution then was to then take this rubric and convert it into a Microsoft form. This allows us to keep a master copy of the rubric in the form format, and easily duplicate it for each of the AI tools. So as you can see, this is our Primo Research Assistant form. So there's a master copy which we've then duplicated and renamed it for Primo. So if someone was assessing Primo, they would use this form. Each of the sections in the rubric have been divided up into sections in the form. So this is the functionality one, where a person, as they're reviewing Primo Research Assistant, would indicate whether they thought it worked well, whether there was minor concerns or serious concerns, and there is an option for not applicable or unsure. And then at the end, we've got the additional information field where people can add further details or clarification as to why they selected specific responses above, and then move on to the next section of the rubric. So we also provide instructions to test several prompts on a topic that the user considers themselves to be an expert in, and medical topics are particularly useful. So this allows people to critically assess whether the generated output is actually accurate or not. And then looking at the analysis of our results, so once everybody's kind of filled in this form, so with our Primo Research Assistant form, we've actually had 9 responses, which is mainly our generative AI working group. You can get a quick kind of overview of everybody's responses. So the nice charts kind of give you a very kind of quick glimpse of how people have responded to different sections. But where I kind of feel that where this kind of Microsoft Forms works really well is that you can actually download the responses as an Excel spreadsheet, which, I kind of, that gives me an opportunity to play around with it and add some pretty formulas. So this is how the results are initially downloaded. I've removed any identifying information because it does have people's names and email addresses when you first get the spreadsheet download. So this is how it initially kind of downloads, and then this is my kind of edited version. So this is where I get to do some fun things. So everybody has an ID number from 1 to 9. So that's all of our respondents. As the rubric had the common responses of minor concerns, works well, and serious concerns, I was able to add a formula to this score field, which is up here, which assigns a score from between 0 and 5, depending on whether they answered works well, minor concerns, or serious concerns. If they responded works well, I think they got 5, minor concerns was 2.5, and serious concerns was 0. That score, the criteria, is then converted to a score, percentage of a total possible score. And where a criterion scores less than 75%, it's automatically highlighted in red as a concern. So for each section of the form, there was also the additional information. So as you can see with ours, this was our actual results of the Primo Research Assistant evaluation. And as you can see for the functionality section, everything scored under 75%. So if we then wanted to look at a closer detail, we can actually go in and review each of the additional information as to why somebody may have chosen that response, which kind of gives us a bit more of an in-depth view. So as I mentioned, as you can see, everything functionality actually returned less than 75%. The other sections kind of did better, but based on this result, our generative AI working group have made the decision to recommend to not enable Primo Research Assistant at this time until we feel there is an improvement in the accuracy and reliability issues. Our next steps are to reach out to academics, researchers, and HDR students to be involved in some testing. And we will also be comparing Primo Research Assistant to other tools with a similar purpose. I think our next trial is with Scopus AI. So I'll just jump back into my presentation, which basically takes us up to questions. I have also, as the original rubric was provided as a Creative Commons document, we've also made ours available as a Creative Commons document, which you can now download the actual Word document copy. I'm not able to share the Microsoft Form version, but you can download the Microsoft Word version from a tiny URL. And I will, if I can, stop sharing.
Thank you very much indeed, Erin. That was fascinating. I love a good rubric, and pulling it all together with spreadsheets just made my day.
I know, rubrics and spreadsheets, what more could you want?
Exactly. Totally fulfilling and a great presentation. Thank you so much indeed. I'm just monitoring here for questions at the moment. What we're getting is lots of comments just agreeing with what you've shown us. It's really great. No questions per se at this point. Yeah, no, that's really come together nicely. I'll just give it another moment or so. And if there's nothing coming through, I will, here we go. Monash would like to know, are you going to periodically reassess your tools as they improve?
That's the plan, yes. So as I said, at the moment, we've chosen not to, or we're recommending not to implement Primo Research Assistant. But yeah, as we kind of, we do keep a close eye on the feature releases and things. And if we kind of feel that tools have been improved, then we'll go back and we'll review them again.
Great, thank you. And I've got another one. Have you provided suggestions or feedback to Ex Libris based on this analysis via Curve or idea exchange?
Yeah, not at this point, but I think actually I have actually been considering that. So we have actually the evaluation that I've currently done. We only completed that probably like 2 weeks ago. So at this stage, I haven't actually gotten to that point, but it is actually something that I've considered that we probably should be actually feeding this back to Ex Libris.
Yeah, I'm nodding here. Yes, definitely. Got some more questions flooding in now. Everybody's warming up. Have you used the rubric on any tools that have been automatically implemented?
We have actually been looking at the JSTOR one. So, I mean, obviously we can't choose whether to, I think it was JSTOR, and there was another one that we were looking at that we haven't kind of got into yet, but it was another one of the ones that we couldn't opt in or out. It's just kind of there. Oh, ProQuest, the ProQuest Research Assistant. So with those ones, it's more of a decision around, are we actively going to promote and support, like, will we kind of, in our support resources, will we actually promote this resource, or will we just kind of, in a way, pretend it doesn't exist? So, because we are getting a lot of questions from academics and stuff about which tools are appropriate to use.
Yes, and everybody thinks something slightly different. So it's a very challenging time for all of us, I think, right now.
Yes,
right.
It is.
Where did we get up to? Which question were you just answering? Sorry, I've been trying to capture there's so much suddenly coming in. Wondering if your team would evaluate other Primo features in a similar way.
Oh, we haven't actually considered that yet. No. I mean, we haven't really kind of looked at any of the other kind of Primo. I mean, there's so much to get through at the moment that we're really kind of, at the moment, our main focus is on the kind of existing tools such as, so our next one's Scopus. And as I mentioned, we're also looking at, some of the other tools that we can't switch on and off. And we also really need to look at EndNote 2025 as well, because there's obviously some problematic issues around that with copyright and things. So that's kind of our next steps.
There's so much that can be done. Catherine would like to know, did you coordinate a range of test searches to use in the tools, or was it up to the individual tester?
It was up to the individual tester. So in our instructions, we basically ask them to choose a topic that they're, experts in. So if you feel that you kind of, I had a medical condition that I looked up because I knew a lot about it. So we just basically, people know what topics they know the most about, because that's the easiest way to assess accuracy, is choosing a topic that you know really well. And that's particularly useful as well for academics and researchers, because they can, kind of choose a research topic and things that they already know something about. So I think it's really specific to the user.
Yeah, thank you. How did you determine the search criteria for specific tests? Specific test searches?
Well, the criteria is pretty much, that was the thing, is we wanted consistent criteria across the tools. So basically the criteria is the same for each assessment. We're just kind of duplicating that form, which is why I kind of feel we kind of get comparable results. So, I mean, some AI search tools is like kind of comparing apples and oranges, which makes it quite difficult. So what we're trying to do is trying to get like a level playing field, so that we can, in a way, that assess them equally.
Thank you very much. We've got a lot of questions still here, but we're actually running behind time. Is it all right with you if we capture these and then send them to you later, Erin?
Yes, absolutely. No, I'd be happy to answer. Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much. That was a really awesome presentation, and I think we're all quite excited about it.
Thank you.